Are human beings fundamentally good or bad? A lot depends on just how we answer that question. As for me, I'm always reminded of the verse in 1 John that says, "If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us." Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, June 3rd, 2022. In yesterday's devotional, I began to reflect on the nature of sin, or more broadly, on a theological account of human nature. I was prompted in this by an opinion piece about how to address the problem of mass shootings by a man who based his analysis on a particular interpretation of sin, one with which I only partly agreed. I suggested that in my tradition, the Reformed tradition, we take a somewhat nuanced view of human nature, and specifically of sin. Today, I want to say a little more about what this understanding is and why it remains important today. We ended yesterday with a bit of wisdom from St. Augustine, who famously said, "Whatever is good." Now, Augustine had no illusions about human nature and about the nature of sin. He, of all people, could describe in fine detail the very nature of sin. But his beginning approach to sin is to recognize that, first of all, we are created by God, and whatever God created is by definition good. The problem is that the good in us has been corrupted, so that we no longer perfectly reflect God's goodness, but only imperfectly so. Our lives are distortions of what God intended. But even corrupt and distorted good is still good. Not all Christian traditions see it this way, though. On the one hand, there are those traditions that claim that once you've been baptized, and as long as you follow a prescribed set of do's and don'ts, you are no longer a sinner. You no longer sin. The rest of humanity in this view is sinful, but not the Christian community. On the other hand, there are Christian traditions that believe that sin is a problem to be overcome through human progress and through striving. They tend to see in human history a story of human beings becoming better, more enlightened, people who become and act more and more in support of some common good. Now, traditions that see themselves as having escaped sin can become so insular and self-affirming that they become blind to the sin that lurks within the life of the community. Particularly, they sometimes fail to see that their own actions are filled with sin and pride. Whatever we do, the thinking goes, must be good, since we are not sinners. When that is the fundamental attitude of a group, watch out. Traditions that see sin as something to be overcome through human progress, on the other hand, often fail to see that human progress is illusory. Yes, we may be more enlightened than our forebears, but that doesn't make us behave better. One only has to look at the internet as an apt metaphor for human progress. On the one hand, the internet has put immense knowledge at our fingertips. It enables us to communicate with one another in a vast array of ways. It enables me to communicate with you through these daily devotionals. But the internet has also enabled terrorists to organize quickly and across vast distances. It puts pornography in easy reach where even young children can view it. The internet represents enormous technological progress, but from a moral point of view, it has brought as much trouble as it has good. Same thing with human progress. We may progress in many ways, but there is still an underlying corruption at work. Now, one of the functions of any religion is to help us make sense of the world and our place in it. One can judge a particular religion in part by asking the question, does this religious tradition do a good job of helping me interpret the world? One of the strengths of the Christian faith is that it tries not to sugarcoat the human experience, but to look at it with eyes wide open. And I believe our tradition, the Reformed tradition, to the extent that it takes a nuanced view of human nature, neither completely condemning nor glibly exonerating us, does a good job of helping us understand why the world is the way it is. Just look around. There is breathtaking beauty and awe-inspiring achievement all around us. But there is also grinding poverty, the cruelty of war, the scourge of drug use, and any number of other tragic realities that you could name. Both of these are part of human life and culture. We are capable of so much, and yet we also, and at the same time, manage to muck things up. We are, as St. Augustine suggested almost 1,600 years ago, a corrupted good, neither perfect nor beyond hope. This way of understanding sin in human life helps us avoid the pitfalls of believing, on the one hand, that we are somehow exempt from doing anything wrong, and it's only those bad people out there who do. Or, on the other hand, believing that we can eradicate evil from the world if we only try hard enough. This understanding of sin that we have helps us understand, first, our need for God's redemptive love, and second, that we are capable of both great good and unspeakable evil, both acts of genuine kindness as well as acts of appalling cruelty. That's what human sin is all about. When we return tomorrow, why Christian faith makes no sense without a robust understanding of sin. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.